Hello and welcome to MAA. This is week 9 and we're talking about other metrics. The lecture, as always, given by Dr. Martin Roberts. So what we're going to look at is that you've seen budgets, and I've shown you some of the budget examples that I've worked with in the world of work. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you understand what we're trying to do, and that's all about to try and motivate the workforce and bring everybody together under the term of goal congruence. So what you should have realized is that it's incredibly short term, a budget focus. So therefore, not only do we need to look at our numbers, but we also need to look at other things that can provide direction to our business. So what you're looking for is something you might have heard of in terms of an acronym. You might have heard the term KPI. Now what that stands for is Key Performance Indicators, and so what they're trying to do is they're trying to give you non-financial indicators that can provide you guidance in your business. So there we are at the bottom. We have things like the rent that you're paying, the rates that you're paying, the utilities that you are paying, your level of productivity, and your overall efficiency. So what's it all for? It's really all about the long term, and I've used that feed forward loop in week 8. So it's about being forward thinking, and it's not about beating people up about how we can be better in the future. So in terms of the initial metrics that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to split this lecture into 2 so that it doesn't become too draining on you, is that we're going to look at, in the short term, we're going to look at profitability, liquidity, and asset turnover. These are all ratios that you possibly will have encountered in your financial accounting studies or elsewhere. So all of these ratios, we've already done the top 3, and we will concentrate on the next 2 when we start to look at working capital management. But we won't go into too much depth. I'll show you possibly how they're calculated, but we won't go a great deal into depth here. Profitability, well, we've already talked about that. Profit margin, or contribution to sales ratio, both are pretty much the same thing, and really that's where I've asked you to concentrate very highly in this semester. And return on capital employed is really what we're all here for, which is, if you watch my initial introductory lectures, is that this is really the main aim of accounting, is that we are there to maximize shareholder wealth, and so ROCE stands for return on capital employed, and that is all about making as much money for the investor as possible. Okay, so what I've got you, or what you've got in front of you, is where you can see key performance indicators kicking in alongside financial accounting ratios. So there we go, is that at a glance, is that if you provide the right KPIs, you can immediately see, as an investor or indeed as an internal manager, is exactly how the company is doing. So there's Tesco's. Fantastic results, 43.6 billion in sales, 2,191 million in profit, all achieved in 1 year. You must remember that, because your income statement only lasts a year. But there you go, there's your KPIs. Some worrying trends is that in the UK they've got 0 sales growth. So there's a KPI for you, and it's kind of a worrying one, but it focuses management attention. more KPIs. There's the number of colleagues or people who work in the UK, which is set currently at 300,000. The Tesco's are first in terms of market position, and again another simple KPI is how many stores have they got. So they are incredibly simple but yet powerful numbers that guide the business. If we look at the same for the NHS, is that what they're using is they use a traffic light system, or a RAG system, as you can see, which obviously stands for red, amber or green, and a lot of what they've got there is green. So again, KPIs are there to help managers understand, look at what's going on, and from there they can manage the business a lot better. So just in terms of obviously red, amber, green, just to make sure you get it right, is red is you stop doing, orange is obviously your warning signs, and greens is carry on, keep doing what you're doing. Apologies for spelling out the obvious, but sometimes I whistle over things without realising that maybe just a little bit of explanation is needed. Okay, so just quickly, there we go, is that we have a lot of fantastic indicators, but they also have a lot of problems. And the downside is again, they're not really that much feed forward, they are feedback in essence, what's happened. Usually within a month, but what's happened, and you know, it doesn't really help with the future. Okay, and as always is that because they're not under strict accounting guidelines, you could, if you wanted, and you were either being lazy or manipulative, is that you could quite easily change these answers or just add a few % onto what they were last month because it was difficult to get hold of the numbers in time. Okay, so yeah, they're kind of worrying on that on that side of things, but really we've got to make sure that we, although they are short term, we've got to think more in the long term so that the business can thrive. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to talk some more about the financial indicators in the next set of slides.